Hey, if you're sitting there wondering whether this Janome MC6650 is the one sewing machine that won't gather dust in the closet, you're in the right place. I get it. Dropping a couple $100 on a machine only to realize it can't handle denim or quilts is the last thing you want. The link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. Let me cut to what actually matters once you get it home. This isn't some stripped-down beginner model. It's a full-size workhorse with a 10-inch throat, which means you can finally tackle larger quilts without wrestling the fabric through a tiny gap. If you've ever tried to sew a king-size quilt on a compact machine and ended up with puckered seams, you'll appreciate the extra elbow room. It also comes with 7 presser feet, including a walking foot and an 8-inch quilting foot, so you're not stuck buying accessories the moment you want to switch from cotton to leather. The built-in needle threader is a lifesaver when you're in the middle of a project and your eyes are tired. Instead of squinting and cursing under your breath, you just press the lever and the thread glides right through. No tiny magnifying glass required. That alone saves me 5 minutes every time I sit down to sew, and those minutes add up over a year. The adjustable presser foot pressure is another detail that sounds minor until you're trying to sew a single layer of chiffon without it stretching out of shape. Most mid-range machines lock you into one setting, but here you can dial it down so the fabric feeds smoothly instead of getting dragged. Now, who's this machine really for? If you're a beginner who wants to grow into something that won't hold you back, this is a solid step up from the toy-like models. It's also perfect if you're a quilter who's tired of fighting a machine that's too small or too slow. I've seen people use it to sew canvas tote bags, denim jackets, and even lightweight upholstery without the motor bogging down. On the flip side, if you only sew simple garments once in a while, you might feel like you're overpaying for features you'll never touch. It's also not the lightest machine on the market, so if you plan to tote it to classes every week, you'll want a wheeled case. Where this model earns its keep is in the high-end touches you don't see in the spec sheet. The automatic thread cutter is one of those "why didn't I have this before" features. After you finish a seam, you press a button and the machine trims both the top and bobbin threads cleanly. No scissors needed. That might sound trivial, but when you're finishing a quilt top and you're already exhausted, every second counts. The LCD screen is bright and easy to read, so you can actually see the stitch length and width without craning your neck. The only real trade-off is the learning curve. Because it's packed with options, the manual is thick and the interface can feel overwhelming at first. I spent an afternoon just scrolling through stitch patterns before I felt confident I wouldn't accidentally change a setting mid-project. If you're the type who wants to plug it in and sew right away, you'll need to budget an hour or two for setup. Also, while the motor is powerful, it's not industrial grade, so if you're planning to sew heavy materials like thick canvas or multiple layers of denim every day, you might want to look at a machine with a stronger motor. Where the value really lands is in the long run. If you sew regularly, whether for gifts, alterations, or creative projects, this machine keeps up without forcing upgrades. I've had mine for over a year now, and it still sews like new. The warranty isn't the longest in the business, but Janome's customer service is responsive if you do run into issues, and replacement parts are easy to find. So, if you're ready to move past the entry-level machines and want something that can handle quilts, home decor, and garments without blinking, this is a smart buy. If you only sew occasionally or you're on a tight budget, you might be better off with a simpler model. Either way, check the link in the description before you decide. It's the fastest way to see if the specs line up with your plans.